Welcome all to the Interfaith meeting where we try to bring an understanding among different religious followers and thereby unity. And thank you, Ahmed, for accepting to give a talk on a short notice. And I will, the acknowledgement of the indigenous people, and then we'll have a music and then some readings. And after the closing music, we'll have the talk. Acknowledging and honoring indigenous land and people. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. The Gadigal of Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney, and Wangal people are traditional owners of Burwood.
I've been holding for so long, scared I might slip away. Sometimes I just feel so lost, but I know that I'll find my way. Oh, I cannot lie, it's hard, sometimes I lose my mind. Constant whispers in my head, temptations I defy. But I know that if I lose your guidance, I'll go blind. That is why I need you. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. Oh, I need you. Oh, I beg you. Oh, take me out of darkness into your light. I know I gotta stay strong, trying hard every day. 'Cause 100 times I've been so wrong, but I know I can make that change. Oh, I cannot lie, it's hard, sometimes I lose my mind. Constant whispers in my head, temptations I defy. But I know that if I lose your guidance, I'll go blind. Protect me, my Lord. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. Oh, I need you. Oh, I beg you. Oh, take me out of darkness darkness into your light. My Lord, I'm grateful for your mercy. Whenever I fall down, you pick me up. 'Cause you're the one who's always there for me. Oh, Lord, show me the way. Oh, Lord, don't let me stray. Oh, I need you. I beg you. Take me out of darkness into your light.
O my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper and their Lord. Baha'u'llah. Say no man can attain his true station except through his justice. No power can exist except through unity. No welfare and no well-being can be attained except through consultation. Baha'u'llah.
You have to unmute in.
Sorry, I didn't unmute, sorry. Be united, speak in harmony. Let your minds apprehend alike. Common be your prayer. Common be the end of your assembly. Common be your resolution. Common be your deliberations. Alike be your feelings. Unified be your hearts. Common be your intentions. Perfect be your unity. By Rick Vida.
Now, in understanding, wrong understanding is wrong, and right understanding is right. One practice is right understanding, first step, and in making efforts to overcome wrong understanding and to arouse right understanding on practices. Right efforts, sixth step, and in overcoming wrong understanding with attentive mind, and dwelling with attentive mind in the possession of right understanding. One practices right attentiveness, seventh step. Hence, there are three things that accompany and follow upon right understanding, namely, right understanding, right efforts, and right attentiveness. The Eightfold Path, Buddha, the world, the Eightfold Path.
Let the women live in the same style as ye live, according to your means. Annoy them not, so as to restrict them. And if they carry life in their wombs, then spend your substance on them until they deliver their burden. And if they suckle your offspring, give them their recompense. And take mutual counsel together, according to what is just and reasonable. The Quran. The Great Being saith, the heaven of divine wisdom is illumined with the two luminaries of consultation and compassion. Take ye counsel together in all matters. inasmuch as consultation is the lamp of guidance which leadeth the way and is the bestower of understanding. Baha'u'llah.
Consultation bestowed greater awareness and transmuted conjecture into certitude. It is a shining light which in the dark world leadeth the way and guided. For everything there is and will continue to be a station of perfection and maturity. The maturity of the gift of understanding is made manifest through consultation. Settle all things, both great and small, by consultation. Without prior consultation, take no important step in your own personal affairs. Concern yourselves with one another. Help along one another's projects and plans. Grieve over one another. Let none in the whole country go in need. Befriend one another until ye become as a single body, one and all. Abdul Baha.
The prime requisites for them that take counsel together are purity of motive, radiance of spirit, detachment from all else except save God, attraction to his divine fragrance, humility and lowliness amongst his loved ones, patience and long-suffering in difficulties and servitude, to his exalted threshold. Should they graciously aided to acquire these attributes, victory from the unseen kingdom of Baha shall be vouchsafed to them. Abdul Baha.
The purpose is to emphasize the statement that consultation must have for its object the investigation of truth. He who expresses an opinion should not voice it as correct and right, but set it forth as a contribution to the consensus of opinion. For the light of reality becomes apparent when two opinions coincide. A spark is produced when flint and steel come together. Man should weigh his opinions with the utmost serenity, calmness, and composure. Before expressing his own views, he should carefully consider the views already advanced by others. Abdul Baha.
In all things, it is necessary to consult. This matter should be forcibly stressed by thee, so that consultation may be observed by all. The intent of what hath been revealed from the pen of the Most High is that consultation may be fully carried out among the friends, inasmuch as it is and will always be a cause of awareness and of awakening and a source of good and well-being. Baha'u'llah.
Once before the flame within my heart, agreements made are now realized like before. Speaking of worlds driven far, far apart, how the innocence crushes the nature of things to the point that we lose all we're trying to gain, making us want more, making us see less. The fire, making us clear, making us fly high, spinning us round and round, spinning us round. The fire within your eyes, this mystic time I've known before, once before the flame within my heart, agreements made are now realized like before. Making us clear, making us fly, spinning us round and round, spinning us round. The flame, making us clear, making me fly, spinning me round and round, spinning me round. Agreements of trust. Under the power of love, we see agreements of faith. Under the power of love, we know agreements of truth. Under the power of love, we feel agreements of love. Under the power of love, we see agreements of liberty. Under the power of love, we know agreements to set you free. Under the power of love, we feel agreements of trust. Under the power of love, we see agreements of faith. Under the power of love, we know agreements of truth.
Now is the time for us to listen to listen to Ahmed.
Okay, let me share.
I'll just introduce you, though
Yeah.
some of them may not know about you. So, Dr. Ahmed Anis has a mixed educational background in engineering and medicine, BSc from UK and then MSc from UK and PhD in New South Wales University. His experience consists of a number of roles, including associate lecturer, research officer, technical support officer, and database manager across various academic institutions in New South Wales. He has been extensively involved in medical data collection and research projects in various institutions. His interests are theological and astronomy topics. Currently a medical researcher and database manager. He is the endocrine surgical units database manager and is involved in a number of research projects in human thyroid, parathyroid, and adrenal glands. He has also been involved in the publication of a number of papers in this field. He has well-versed knowledge of relational databases and has performed upkeep of a number of access-based databases in the unit. Recently, he has been involved in the transition of these surgery databases on the RedCat platform, and these have been in use for the past 2 years. And he's a long-standing Baha'i and well-versed with the history and the writings of the Baha'i faith. I welcome Ahmed to his presentation on his view on the creator and creation.
Thank you, Siva, for that introduction. Let me first share my screen because I want to present some stuff.
Yes.
I remember there. And it's going to just okay. Now I don't know whether you're seeing my full screen or you're seeing presenter's screen. Can you let me know?
Yes.
Which one are you seeing?
We see your notes also there.
Okay, so let's have to swap.
Next slide. Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the title of my talk today. But before starting my talk, I'd like to give some prerequisite information to you. I don't know, I probably was attracted to astronomy because I was born in the era of human beings were going to moon and Apollo era. I remember seeing that scenes in black and white on TV in Iran when I was a very small kid. And since then, I have been always interested in astronomy. Probably if I had not gone into direction of medicine, I would have liked to go into direction of astronomy. But at the same time, because I was brought up as a Baha'i, so I've kind of have experience or understanding and learning in the teachings of Baha'i faith. So my talk is really based on the teachings of Baha'i faith. But I think those teachings are very similar in the other faiths as well. The other thing is that I'm not presenting any quotations from any writings of any of the manifestations because it would have prolonged my presentation. So for abbreviations, please assume that I have quotations for the things that I'm going to mention today, and I can provide them if it's needed in a later time. I'm not presenting any quotations. I briefly go through my slides that I've created. And the other thing is that this is a personal view, not a Baha'i view, but is based on Baha'i faith and the understanding of the verses and teachings of the Baha'i faith. So it's a personal view of universe, sciences, creation, and inference to existence of God. So I believe in existence of God based on these inferences. So let me go one page. So before you start, we have to really know what is existence, where we are, and what is our knowledge at the moment. So to give you that bit of information, I have created a few slides about physical laws and physical existence that we know. First of all, the physical universe. We live on Earth, one of the planets of our sun, a solar system about 0.5 light years, or possibly even a full light years in its size. The solar system is located in a region between the two arms called the Orion and Cygnus arm, 3,500 light years across, and is 10,000 light years in length. So this is a picture. Well, we can't see our Milky Way because to us, the Milky Way is in this plane. But scientists have discovered that is a bar galaxy with a number of arms, actually 6 arms. And this is the location. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the sun's location to the center of our galaxy. And this is the structure of our galaxy. We are somewhere here, and there's dust obscuring us to see the center, but we know there's a nucleus there. The height of this galaxy is about 3,000 light years, and the diameter of this galaxy, 100,000 light years. And light years is, if the light travels through the space for a year, that is called light years. So movement of electromagnetic wave in space for a year, our solar year. Now, this is give you an image of our galaxy. The galaxy is a big one, but there are much bigger galaxies also. There's a number of local, this called local unit or local cluster. And there are about 12 small galaxies around our galaxy. Our galaxy is bigger than those. And these two, for example, are large and small Magellan clouds. And there are small other galaxies close by. So this is an image. When you look at the sky in a dark space, you probably would see this, except that you don't see this central area as good as this picture because there's a lot of dust. But this is a long exposure, so they've shown that there is a center there. There's a glow at the center. Now, I think I'll explain this, that our galaxy is a spiral and is an edge galaxy. So we can't see this shape, but we can infer by looking at a pinwheel galaxy. This is another big galaxy and is very similar to our galaxy. And this other image is a simulation. So when Edwin Hubble looked at through his telescope in USA, he found that these fuzzy objects, and then he discovered that these fuzzy objects are outside our galaxy. And then he discovered that there exists of many galaxies. So in the universe, there are billions of these galaxies. And in our galaxy, there are billions of stars. And they're now finding that every star has got planets. So it's amazing. There is so much in there. Now I want to show you this short video Let me get it. I have to unshare and share again. So let me bring the other picture. This is only 2.5 minutes, so it's nice to see.
This is one of the deepest optical images of the universe ever taken.
This is the full-blown Hubble Ultra Deep Field. And what's important to think about in this image is you're looking at a lot of objects in what seems like 2 dimensions, but really you've got a 3-dimensional view of the universe.
The light from the most distant galaxies has taken billions of years to travel across the universe and reach Hubble. By taking this picture, Hubble was literally looking back in time to see the very early universe.
First thing you're going to see down here on the right-hand side, there is a galaxy very much like the Milky Way. That galaxy is about 5 billion light years away. So we're looking back in time by 5 billion years. But if we go farther back in time, 9 billion years into the past, you see this little group of galaxies, in particular these 2 in the center, they are odd-shaped because they haven't yet had time to build these beautiful structures that we see. These are colliding together, and that's how galaxies built up to become what they see today. Even farther back in time, to 12.6 billion light years, and what we see is this little red galaxy beginning to emerge. It's red because we're looking at a galaxy whose light was emitted when the universe was about 10% of its present age. And it doesn't look like an elliptical galaxy, and it doesn't look like a spiral galaxy. This is a piece of the universe that hasn't yet had time to come together with other pieces to create the spiral and elliptical galaxies we see today.
Hubble had looked back in time towards the final frontier, the dawn of galaxies. It had captured almost 13 billion years of history in a single image.
Okay. Let me go back to my okay. Now, scientists today, they have gathered information, and they are in a state that they're saying that there has been a Big Bang expansion of universe, and now 13.77 billion years have passed since that point of expansion, and they describe it in this way. There's dark energy acceleration expansion here, development of galaxies and planets, dark ages where the heat was so vast that no light could be generated. There is an afterglow, which we scientifically have discovered it, which is the earliest photo of the universe. And this is very interesting. If you have time, go and kind of investigate it. It's so interesting. And then they say there was a time where there was a bit of inflation, sudden expansion in a small time. And then they say there was quantum fluctuations. And as a result of that quantum fluctuations, a Big Bang has occurred. And the other image on the left side, it's kind of looking at different space-times in redshift. Redshift really is the distance from us. And they look at finding galaxies. Every point in this image is a single galaxy. So that indicates billions of galaxies in the universe. Okay. Now, just give you some description of these terms, which is important from the talk that I'm giving. What is the Big Bang Theory? The Big Bang Theory is an effort to explain what happened at the very beginning of our universe. Discoveries in astronomy and physics have shown beyond a reasonable doubt that our universe did in fact have a beginning. Prior to that moment, there was nothing. During and after that moment, there was something, our universe. And then the quantum theory, a theory in physics based on the principle that matter and energy behave both as particles and as waves. According to this theory, matter and energy are composed of tiny units of electromagnetic energy called quanta. And there is a new, there is a new theory as well in recent times, and it's called string theory. In physics, string theory is a theoretical framework in which the point-like particles of particle physics are replaced by one-dimensional objects called strings. String theory describes how these strings propagate through space and interact with each other. On distance scales of larger than the string scale, a string looks just like an ordinary particle, with its mass, charge, and other properties determined by the vibration state of the string. In the string theory, one of the many vibrational states of the string corresponds to the graviton, a quantum mechanical particle that carries the gravitational force. Thus, string theory is a theory of quantum gravity. To describe more this is that every electron, atoms, and other minute particles in space, this theory assumes that it's a string vibrating in different form as a result of this structure, these elements are formed. Now, going to current results from science, in recent times, they have discovered that the observed universe that we see is about only 4.6% of what is there. And they have termed these as the other things, they have termed them as dark matter and dark energy. So we know existence of dark matter and dark energy by gravitational pull that they induce. So that's indirect, we cannot see these things, but indirectly we can infer that they exist, because the pull of their pull there on the light shows that such things are in existence. We do not know anything about them. Science is at lost at the moment, but has proven their existence. So their existence is proven, but we don't know what they are. The observable universe is only 4.6 to 7% of matter based on gravitational studies. So they say that, you know, atoms, protons, neutrinos, whatever, is only 4.6%. 23 other percent are dark matter, and 72% are dark energy. These are different things. One is pure energy, the other one is matter that we do not know anything about it. But we know them because of their gravitational effect. And just to describe, the dark matter is found by looking at the stars in our galaxy, for example. And there's a law that, for example, in solar system, planets that are closer to the sun go faster, and the planets that are away, they go slower around the sun. But this is not the case about the stars in the galaxy. different distances in the galaxy, the stars go at the same speed. So that was a puzzle for them. And they know that there's dark matter because that dark matter is a kind of a sphere around our galaxy, and that causes gravitational pull to all the stars, and the stars are going around the center of the galaxy in uniform form. The dark matter was found by looking at images of like Hubble image and seeing images of background objects being distorted when they looked at multiple galaxies area. So the multiple galaxies acted as a lens, and the light was brought from the back of them forth, but in a distorted form. So that indicated that there's a dark energy. Now let's go to our Earth and nature that we know on Earth. So when you look at Earth, the world of objects, ground, soil, table, chair, the world of plants, various species of plants, limited movement, stationary, power of growth, and power of reproducibility is the properties of this world. The world of animals, various species of animals, power of movement, power of growth, power of reproducibility, but limited intellectual capacity. Now, when you go to the world of man, physically highest limit of animal world, power of intellect, possess ability to understand the spiritual concepts in a metaphorical way. Now, when you look at these different states, each lower state tries to progress to the higher level by allowing to be consumed in the various ways by the higher level. Like, for example, the plants absorb soil and water to grow. Animals eat the plants to grow. So objects sacrifice themselves in order to move to the world of plants. And the plants sacrifice themselves in order to move to the animal world. So there are these stages in the physical world. The other thing is that all the creation is in dual form. There's man and woman in all the above levels in different forms. Like in plants, there's a man and woman. In animals, there's a man and woman. In human beings, there are man and woman. Now, at the same time, this nature has got a law, and the law is called power of composition and decomposition. Nature is made, created, and brought together, and that's composition, and it disintegrates and it decomposes. A plant starts from a seed, grows, and eventually becomes an adult, and after being an adult, it perishes at the end. So in nature, there's this law of composition and decomposition. No, but we do not know anything about the nature of existence. Let me explain. First of all, we are at infancy of acquiring knowledge about the universe. We don't know the shape of our universe, the size of our universe, whether it's a single universe or multi-universes. These are theories that are there, but we are at infancy of that knowledge. Next is nature of God, man, and nature are hidden from us. We cannot know the essence of God, the essence of man, the essence of nature. What is energy? No scientist can explain what is energy. Similarly, no one can explain the essence of man. No one can explain the essence of God. All of them are hidden to us. The other is a state level of us compared to God is like a state of objects and our intellect. I think last week I explained, brought this example, metaphor of chair and man versus man and God. So the levels are so different that understanding of God is meaningless. We cannot understand God. So we can never grasp greatness of God. But looking at the nature, you can see that there is intelligence behind it. God has created this universe. Now, he sends messengers. Let me go further. The concept of religion. Historically, various religions or concepts of belief have appeared among mankind. We know history, many religions in the world. Successive faiths introduced the concept of one God, possession of a spirit by man. So we know if you look at different faiths, all of them say there is one God, and every one of them say man has got a spirit. Man in concept of three entities. Now, in Baha'i faith and many other faiths, there's description that a man is unique. Man has got a physical body, a soul, and a spirit. So man is really consists of three entities: the physical body, the soul, and the spirit. I'll go to that later. Now, each faith has appeared by introduction of a new concept by the founder, the manifestation of God. Now, if you use a metaphor of schooling, you go through first year, second year, up to 12 years of study and the university. Each year, you learn something new, but the higher level of schooling is based on the first level. So to me, all these manifestations of God that come from God is like that metaphor. They come at different stages and they present different level of concepts of world, concepts of spirituality. So that is based on the capacity of man of the time. Now, we have to have also in consideration something else, which is duality of religious concepts. Religious concepts are based on two things: spiritual concepts and physical laws. Now, spiritual concepts have always been the same in all faiths. Love your neighbor is been in Christianity, in Judaism, in Islam, in Baha'i faith, Buddhism, whatever you would like. They're there. These spiritual concepts are there. Oneness of God, oneness of religion. These are concepts that are always been in these faiths. But each one of them, they differ in their physical laws. How we fast, how we shower ourselves, how we treat each other, different concepts, how we share our wealth with others. And this is like sun coming at different times. It's the same sun that appears every morning, but it appears from different places. So you could say that sun is the same, but you could also say that sun is not the same, it's a different sun. So those physical laws are like movement of sound in different times. So I'm using metaphors because I think metaphors can explain spiritual concepts. So basically all religions are one, but they differ in physical laws, but their spiritual concepts are the same. There's something else. Each religion forecasts coming of the next manifestation of God. So if you look at the scriptures of the past religions, every one of them are saying that before me there were other manifestations of God. I am the manifestation of God, and in future there will be other manifestations of God. And they give descriptions. And I don't want to go into just teaching by faith, but in Baha'i faith, we scrutinize this and we find scriptures of the past religions that show direction towards the manifestation after. Like in Christianity, there is references for Islam and Baha'i faith. In Judaism, there's references to Christianity and so on. There are references to the next manifestation in every religion. Now, let's go and to a different concept, and that's the concept of love in creation. Now, we have to know, what's the purpose of this universe? Why is it there? So this is the only quotation that I'm bringing, and only a broad part of it. And it says, I love your creation, hence I created thee. This is the concept of God loved creation of a being that can understand him and worship him. As a result, he has created this universe and us. Now, there are various concepts of love, various types of loves. Love of God for man, love of manifestation of God for man. I missed there, love of God for manifestation, love of man and woman, love of nature, the various levels of love. And so, in my understanding, the whole creation and universe is based on the concept of love. The love of the creator in order to create something that can understand him and worship him. This is my understanding of the scripture. Now, when you look at the human beings, we have this concept of free will. Man is made with free will. I made thee in my image. So if we say God has got free will and he can do anything, he says in another quotation, I made thee in my image. So we have that free will. The man, he can be purely spiritual and purely animalistic at any instant. We can be both of them at any instant. He can show various attributes of God on earth as well, like love, fellowship. So now let's go to the concept of birth and death. Now, when you look at the physical existence, you see that there's development of a human being in the womb. So there's a stage in development of man that it exists in the mother's womb for 9 months, and it grows there, and it matures there until it's allowed to get birth. Now, we live, when we come into this world, we live an existence, in this physical world of a limited time. Existence in this physical life is for only about 100 years maximum at the moment. Maybe in future we can increase it, but in the old times, it was 30, 40 years, now maybe 80 years, or enough people that live to 100 years. Now, this is very a limited amount of time. If you look at the universe and existence, we're so limited. What's the purpose of this limited time to come in here and then disappear? So then, to me, there must be something after it. So I believe in life after departing this physical world. And I think when you look at the womb of the mother and development of the infant in there, and then look at the physical life that we have here, we have no option except to accept that there is other worlds that we go through. We are here transiently. We were in the womb of the mother transiently. And we probably would be in other worlds of God transiently, and we'll move around, move further up in the worlds. Now, let me go into this a bit further. Pattern of growth. In the womb, the infant develops physical brain, limbs, and organs that are needed in afterbirth world. Those organs are not used in the womb. And that's clear. We know science. Science has shown us that those things are not used in the womb. They are for this world, this physical world. Now, after birth, those developed organs are put in use after birth. Development of intellectual capacity and potential also during life. Development of spiritual attributes, organs necessary for after death. Purpose of physical life is to develop these organs for use in the next world. Now, here we have to use metaphors. Use of metaphors to understand the spiritual worlds and concepts, like sun for inverse versus God. So we can understand God by explaining sun, the radiance of sun, rays that come from sun. That's a symbol for God in the physical world. So we have to use metaphors to understand what happens to us in afterworld. Now we are here, and to me, we are here to gain those spiritual attributes that God wants us to acquire, like fellowship, love, other attributes. So these, to me, look like the organs that we are in need of in the world after. In the world of the womb, we have physical limbs and organs that we develop. And to me, we are here in this world, in this transient 100 years, to acquire these attributes in order to use them in the next world. Now, I'd like to go, because we talked about incarnation a few times, I'd like to present my view of incarnation, which I think is based on the Baha'i faith concepts. Don't quote me that I'm saying the Baha'i concepts. This is my personal view of the concepts. Now, if you look at the world, limiting God to creation of just this physical world sounds not right. Continuous recycling of human spirit in various forms is based off that life. A shell, once it's opened, can show if there is a pearl in it or not. When you open a shell from the ocean, you either find a pearl in there or nothing. You chuck it out if it's not. So I don't see what's the need of the human spirit coming and going. Now, many species, I'm saying other species, even human species, have disappeared. And the cause is interference by man. So we have destroyed many species. Now, if those species are no longer there and we have destroyed them, I don't understand how could their human spirit be inside them and then disappear and all that. So I have to reject it. Everything in the world has its own unique signature. By this, I mean even atoms have their own signature. Every individual in the universe is unique. Every element in the universe is unique. Every one of us is unique. So then if we are all unique in nature, how can we going from one into another state? And that again, to me, is not acceptable. Now, population growth. We know that F probably came from one Adam and one Eve or whatever. But there's a population growth. Where are those souls gonna go? To me, again, there's no, if they are transferring into other forms, it's meaningless. It's more population. Now, I went to look, well, what's this concept of reincarnation? When you look carefully in the scriptures of the past, you gain this. Reincarnation has not been understood. It is reappearance of various manifestations of God in various times of history of humanity. This is what the old scripture is talking about. It's a metaphor for coming of manifestations of God in various times. It's like that sun. The sun is the same, but at these various times, it appears in different places. So you could say that son has reincarnated at different time. And you could also say that son is the same son. So you could say the son is different, and you could say the son is the same. So to me, the concept of reincarnation is this concept of manifestations of God repeatedly coming and going, coming and going. Now, so this is my conclusion that I put in there. Reincarnation to me is reappearance of God in physical form in various times in history. Now, I'll give you a bit of conclusion here. Man in various stages of development. Now, when you look at humanity, history of mankind, you see we've gone through different various stages, you know, being a family, a village, a town, a country, now the whole world together, and maturity of intelligence also have been in different stages. From Baha'i concepts, now is the adulthood stage of man. Now, Baha'u'llah explains humanity as a human being. A human being goes from being in the womb of the mother, infancy, childhood, youthfulness, adulthood, and then maturity and old age, and so on. So these are the stage a human being goes. He explains that the world, the civilization of humanity is like that. It goes through different stages. And we have reached to a stage of adulthood where humanity now has to come together on the planet Earth and to be united and be one. This is not a speedy concept, so it takes time for these things to happen. So this adulthood has got a period, it takes time. And Baha'is believe we are in that stage where we are now in a point where we have to come together. And now, he's here to develop, okay, now I went through this concept that man is here, why man is here in this physical world, and that's to develop spiritual organs for the world after. We can't grasp or understand the world after, but metaphorically, we can understand it. If I use this world of existence as the metaphor for the world of the spiritual world, we see that in this physical world, there are many stages: material, plants, animals, humans, and these are different stages of physical world. So to me, and Baha'u'llah says that, and also I think Christ says that the physical world, the physical existence here is a shadow of that spiritual kingdom above. So if these things exist in the physical world and this world is the shadow, obviously some compatible entity exists for these things in the spiritual world. So to me, the spiritual world consists of human beings at different states of spirituality, in same level as being matter there, being plants there, being animals there, and being humans of that world. So the next world has got that structure. It is my concept, my understanding of the writings, that the world that we go to has got that structure. It's the same structure as this physical world, but in a spiritual understanding, yeah? This physical world is a metaphor for it. So if you are good, spiritually, highly developed in this physical world, obviously you have a best spiritual entity when you depart this world. And then when you go there, that spirituality gives you the state of manhood in that world. But if you are a killer, a destroyer of life, a degraded human being, in sense of being cruel and all that, that spirit has got the state of matter in the other world. It's the matter of the other world. It doesn't understand the higher worlds, doesn't understand those spiritual beings. Really, those people don't understand spiritual beings in this, even in this physical world. Now, to me, when you look at these stages and you see, for example, a butterfly comes from a womb, it goes into a cocoon and then develops into butterfly, or human being, it's in a womb and then it comes into this physical world and then dies. So to me, and looking at the concept of why we are here, gives the conclusion that God's worlds are limitless. We go through these unlimited worlds in different stages. Now, obviously, time has no meaning. Even this physical world, when you go into the stage of universe itself, in the galaxies and all that, time loses its meaning. Time is only valid for us when we are on this planet going around the Earth. If you go outside the planet, going further somewhere, time becomes meaningless, really. So time doesn't come into this. So the worlds of God are limitless, and God sends us through these. And the purpose is understanding Him and worshiping Him. Now, I think man forever progresses in a higher state of form. So as we go through these stages, we develop into a higher state. From the childhood, from the infant in the womb of the mother, we become a child, become a youth, become an adult, become an elderly. And when we pass, we go into another form of the state, which we can only describe it metaphorically because we can't grasp, understand it. It's beyond our understanding. So to me, man is going through these stages forever and will be with God. Now, let's again, I've explained this many times. The term of God and man go hand in hand. One without the other is meaningless. This is kind of a description for those people that say, if God created us, who created God? Now, this famous scientist, I think, I've forgotten his, he died because he had motor neuron disease. It doesn't come in my mind now. Colin, if you have...
Stephen Hawking?
Stephen Hawking has said, look, when they were looking at the concept of this universe, he said that to ask where is the north of North Pole is meaningless, because the concept of North Pole is that it's North Pole. So there's no north of North Pole, okay? Can you grasp that? This is a metaphor for existence of God. To say that who created God is totally meaningless, because it's same as saying what is in the north of North Pole. If you go on to North Pole, that's it. That's the end. There's nothing after that. You can't have a North Pole of North of North Pole. Yeah. So that metaphor can be used for this thing. Why there is no meaning for creation of God. Okay. Now, at the same time, the concept of God has no meaning if there's no creation. And the concept of creation has no meaning if there's no God. So these two go hand in hand. They have to be together. Now, in what form they were in the past or now or in the future, well, we only can know what it is now because we can observe now. We cannot observe the past, so we don't know what man was in what form in the past, and we can grasp millions of years from now what form the man will get into. So We only can understand now, not the past and not the future. But these two go hand in hand. If there is a creation, if there is a universe, then there must be a creator. And if there is a creator, then there must be a universe. So these two are hand in hand. Each one of them without the other is meaningless. Now, the other thing, if we are here to acquire those spiritual attributes, we can make this physical world an image of that heavenly world. So to my purpose, my creation is to understand God, to worship God, but at the same time, acquire these spiritual attributes and to help this physical world, this natural world, to become a mirror of that heavenly world that we will go. I hope that I've proven to you that there's an existence of God, how we go through nature, what is our physical world, how it's structured. But have in mind that essence of these are beyond us. We cannot grasp God, we cannot grasp nature, we cannot even grasp our own beings. Our essence is unlimited to us, is kind of unfathomable to us. Now we can use science to grasp a bit of universe, to understand the universe. Even the science today is at loss. What is dark matter? What is dark energy? We don't know. We cannot experiment on them. We can only know them by through gravitational pull that they have. So essence of energy, essence of these things are unknowable to us. Now, so what we can do now, I wanted to bring you a metaphor here before I finish. You accept that there is oxygen in the air and you breathe it, but we can't see oxygen, okay? Now, how can we believe in something that we can't see? But science has proved indirectly the existence of oxygen in the air that we breathe. They've gone and tested it and looked at it, scientifically, and they found there is some element in there that we breathe, and that is called oxygen. Yeah. So understanding things that are hidden can only be indirect. We cannot understand things that are hidden to us directly. So God is hidden to us. So the only way to understand God is indirect. And then he's described it. Now, manifestations come from him because the state of us is like that chair and the carpenter. So he sends these manifestations to give us some understanding metaphorically what God is, what the concept of God is. Yeah. So understanding these spiritual things are very indirect. We can only do it through metaphors. Through indirect concepts and metaphors, we can conclude their existence. We can conclude the existence of God. We can conclude the existence of the spirit of man. And we can conclude that there are other worlds that we go to after this world, indirectly, metaphorically. So that's my talk. I hope you enjoyed it all. Hope I kind of given you my perception of the world.
Thank you. Thank you for the very detailed presentation, Ahmad. It was your short notice to give the presentation, but you have.
Well, when Colin presented, I had this concept in me, and I started preparing these slides. So I was prepared. It was short notice, but I was prepared.
But you have taken quite a lot of time, so I hope we have enough time for questions. If there is any questions, please use the reaction button to raise your hand. And I have Colin here first.
Thank you, Ahmed. I enjoyed that. I do like getting away from the city and being able to see the Milky Way. And
me too.
Yeah, and even though I don't really know what I'm looking at, I know I'm looking at a galaxy, and you just informed me that just the width of it is 3,000 light years, and that's
10,000, 100,000 light, or width.
yeah, and the diameter 100. Yeah, that's
100,000.
mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling. The space is mind-boggling.
Yeah, exactly. It's more than we can comprehend. And looking, and I like that bit about looking back 12 billion years, and which is the same as looking back in time, because that 12 billion years ago, the light left that galaxy, and now it's finally reached us.
Yeah.
And of course, what's happening now is that the galaxy is already probably formed, and maybe it's even finished. And
No, but you can infer something from here. Because we exist and because our galaxy is in this form, there are other galaxies in the universe at this time, at our time, that are exactly the same. So those realities that we see are in existence. Indirectly, we can understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing being able to look back in time, in a sense. So that's an observation, but a question is, why is it that we can look into the universe and some of us can see God and some can't? We can look at the universe and conclude, well, it's a universe. That's it. As well as inference, is there some kind of perception that helps us see the beauty of God, for example?
Well, to me, Baha'u'llah explains it in this way, that first of all, if you want to understand or grasp the truth, we have to empty ourselves from things like prejudice, like what we hear, what we listen, what our parents had believed. So we have to empty ourselves of those things, and then we are able to search after truth. Okay. Now, to me, people that don't see the hand of creation in nature, they have not emptied themselves. Every bit of creation calls us that there is a creator. Every bit. It's such uniform, it's such structured. Even the scientists say this universe that we exist, if they use an equation and they say if those parameters in that equation were a bit different, this world would not have existed. The living beings would not have existed. So there's kind of structure. I didn't go through two things. One, the use of mathematics to describe the universe. The other thing is that I believe everything starts from a seed. Like when you plant a seed and you get an orange tree out of it. And I think Big Bang is the seed of creation. It was a seed that God has planted in the spiritual world. And as a result, this universe, this physical universe appeared because of that growth of that seed. Now, I think my basic view is that they haven't looked at it correctly. They have prejudices, they have concepts behind their thoughts that prevents them to see this hand of creation in that existence.
Okay. I think we all have prejudices in one or the other.
Yeah.
Jung, and then Shore.
Oh, first of all, can I say something to Jung? He said that God flies from the North Pole and comes here. Now, I hope I change your mind, because look at the universe. It's so big, so vast, and God cannot be from the North Pole. That is a metaphor. We have to go and understand that metaphor, why they say God comes from the North Pole. So God is much greater. This big universe God cannot come from North Pole. But let me hear your question.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. I think you make a very thorough lecture about God and nature and everything else, but I found contradictions in your research findings. First one, you acknowledge that there is dark matter and dark energy. Now we understand, and this dark energy by gravitation pull, now we understand why some people got pulled indirectly or directly into the dark life, like they don't have spiritual life, right? So dark energy might have something to do with it. I'm only guessing about it. The second, you said that the purpose of physical...
Excuse me, Young. So what is the contradiction?
Contradiction is, we have physical life is to develop the organs for use in the next world, like the baby in the womb. They have brains and limbs and everything. But then you don't believe in reincarnation. So people like to develop their good virtues. So they expect that in their next life, after they die, they will see God or they have a better life.
Okay.
They have a better life, but you don't believe in reincarnation.
Okay.
And you say, it's contradiction.
Okay, let's ask Ahmed to answer that.
Okay. First of all, I didn't say that human beings develop and then end here. They will develop in the other world as well. There is limitless development. The soul will develop there. So it will still be able to acquire a spiritual growth in the other world. Because, for example, Baha'u'llah says, pray for your fathers, the forefathers, because that prayer would be acceptable in the threshold of God, and it would develop that person in the other world. Now, so development is not limited to this world, in my understanding. It will be always towards goodness, okay? So we go through these stages and it's limitless. So I don't see any relationship of that with reincarnation. As I explained, to me, the concept of reincarnation is a concept of recurring of manifestations and coming of God into this physical world for us to understand him and his existence. Now, going to the first question, I just lost it.
The dark energy.
Oh, dark energy. Yeah. To me, those are physical things. They have nothing to do with the spiritual things. We haven't understood them yet. Many, many years from now, probably humanity would understand them and would understand how to, experiment them like physical world. So to me, I'm sorry, but those are physical things. They're not spiritual things. Human beings are made, as I said, consist of three entities: physical world, physical being, soul or the mind, and the spirit. Now, when we depart this world, we shed our physical life, but we do not shed our mind, and we do not shed our spirit. And we go into the other world to use those to progress. So to me, dark matter, dark energy, we don't know what they are, but they're not anything to do with the spirituality. They are physical things that in the future, mankind will grasp them, will understand it. You have to look at it metaphorically, that there are things that we can grasp. The spirit we can grasp, but metaphorically we can understand their existence. Like we can understand the existence of dark matter because of the gravitational pull. Now, human beings have spirituality, they have love, they have friendship. Those are attributes of the spirit. So those are metaphors to indirectly understand their existence, the existence of the spirit. So to answer you, to me, dark matter, dark energy are physical things. They're nothing to do with making people dark in the spirit. Nothing to me.
Yeah. Can I just add on something important? If you see the flood situation at the moment, thousands of people in the flood area, they all virtual people. I mean, you don't know who's virtual and who's not virtual, who the God punished and who's not, that God not punished. So we cannot judge people. And you say the spiritual attributes to make a life better, but they, like in the previous life, they may already a nuns or priests, and they done their 100,000 years of spiritual life, and they come into this physical world, and what they do, they sink in the flood. It's not their fault. It's not their fault.
That could be your concept, but I don't believe it, because I believe that when you open a shell from the ocean, either there's a pearl in there, so in a period that the shell had grown, either it had developed a shell in it or it hasn't. So to me, we are in this physical world to develop that shell, that pearl in the shell. Now, either we develop it here and we go into the other world with the pearl in hand, or we go into the other world without that pearl. And then we have to start a lower state of spirituality to grow, okay? So to me, reincarnation cannot be accepted in that form. I accept reincarnation, but reincarnation in the understanding that is coming of God into this physical world every so often, not as man going to different states to develop spirituality. Because to me, spirituality can be grasped in this period that we are in this world, in these 100 years, to acquire them, because there are links that we need to use in the other world.
Let's believe that there are friends who believe in reincarnation, and
absolutely.
So for various reasons, and it cannot be proved or disproved, that because we are guided by science as well as by the Holy Scriptures, we think that we have a better understanding, but we are trying to understand these things together. So
yeah, I mean, people are there that believe in these things, but to me, because of those things that are mentioned in that slide, those factors, to me, not acceptable, and I don't believe it.
Yeah.
In that form. That
yeah, but God doesn't need reincarnation.
Yeah, God doesn't need reincarnation.
God has all the power. He doesn't need reincarnation. Human beings and animals need reincarnation, but God doesn't need it.
No, but you know,
okay, we will leave that question.
Okay, no, but let's say that in order on knowing God to bring concepts to us, the only way to me, to my understanding, is that it to appear in the form of human being, which is the manifestation of God, to give us those principles, give us those laws that are needed for the time that we exist. So to me, that's the concept of reincarnation, because it comes and goes. But to me, human beings go in different worlds of God, so there's no need to come back in this physical world.
Okay, let's go to the next question, Zore. If you have still question, you can come back.
Yes, thank you, Ahmad. It was beautiful. Yeah, it's very also not easy to grasp all these things about, the sky and all of those, but it's nice. Even I love looking at the sky just like that. It's just amazing. But I have two questions, but I don't know whether there is any answer to that. So why essence of man is hidden from us? Why did God made everything to puzzle? Like he didn't say this is me and that is me or something. I don't know. I think it's. Yeah.
Is that your first question? Or do you have other questions?
No, I have this, and the next one is also I say it. I just asked, why do you think the virtues are needed in the next world?
Sorry, which one?
Virtue.
The virtues,
virtues.
like kindness and love and
all,
all that. Yeah.
all the attributes of God are
Yeah,
needed. Yeah. I mean, Baha'u'llah said, I mean, in Islam, they say 95, there are 95 virtues. There are many virtues. You know, have you gone to those classes, children classes that teach virtues? Those all virtues are needed because those are different limbs of man to develop for the future existence. Now, about the essence of man. Now, to me, the whole creation is a spiritual thing. Baha'u'llah says in one of his quotations that as a result of vibration of the active force and the recipient, the existence has occurred. Now, active force would be God. Now, we don't know what the recipient is, probably matter. Now, in what form, we don't know. But essence of everything is hidden to us because, to me, there are spiritual things. Like if you go through the theory of the string theory, which I kind of accept, is that there's this spiritual energy that it transforms itself in different forms. As a result, matter is created. Now, if the essence of everything, you know, when scientists gone through breaking everything down and down and down, and they have found many things below than protons and electrons, but they cannot go further because of their limits. But they can't end up anywhere. Yeah. So to me,
the question I think she asked is, why is it hidden? Is it?
Why is hidden? I'm just saying.
Why God created that the essence is hidden? That's what the question is.
That's what I want to say. It's hidden because it's a spiritual entity, and as a result, our understanding is below that.
How about saying that's how God created it?
Well, we don't know. We can't know.
Yeah,
it's beyond us.
Yeah, that's how.
Like is the chair asked the carpenter, did you use this tool or that tool? It's meaningless because the chair's estate is so low towards the carpenter that he cannot grasp these things. We cannot grasp them. That's it. We cannot grasp them. We are too low towards the state of God.
Okay.
Do you think as the science is growing like deeper and deeper, one day they can see the spirit also? I mean, they can understand it better, like, you know.
They can infer, but they can't see, they can't understand. They can infer. They can use metaphors that are in physical world to understand those spiritual concepts.
Yes.
Long way to go.
Thank you.
It's a long way to go to see these things. Yeah.
It's limitless. It's limitless. Progress of man and exist intellectual beings in the universe. We are not alone. Based on the number of these galaxies and stars and planets, we're definitely not alone as intelligence.
How do you define? I have a few questions. If anyone else wants to ask, please show your hand. How do you define nature?
Well, nature to me is this creation of God, which we are part of it, but we're not nature. We are above nature because we have that spirit. Now, to me, everything is spiritual, but at the same time, it's got this entity of physical matter, mind, and then a spirit. So these concepts, I can't say they're separate from each other because that's meaningless, but those entities create man, yeah?
So the nature is, the whole creation is nature?
The whole creation is nature. The universe is nature. Now, in Earth is limited to our nature. Our galaxy is limited to our galaxy. In the universe is limited to universe. It's different levels. Now, if you're thinking of the Earth itself, obviously we see that there's matter, plants, animals, and human beings. But when you look at the human nature, maybe in the past we've been part of the animal kingdom, but because of that spirit and that intellectual understanding, we can shape the earth nature or even galaxy nature in future. God knows.
So what about,
we are able to.
what about meteors?
Huh? Meteors?
Yes.
Meteors are just some.
Is it part of the nature?
Yes, the spherical objects that dwell in the Earth, if I pronounce it correctly, or Earth orbit after Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune. And then because of pull of Jupiter, they are pulled inside, and the gravity of Jupiter and Sun brings them in.
Okay, my next question
and
is,
those are meteors, and then we see them.
I remember reading
They matter.
in Baha'u'llah's writing that every fixed star has
a planet,
and every planet has life.
I think you should look at that like a metaphor. I think you should look at it globally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not that there are lives in other planets.
I mean, for example, a neutron star is very dangerous, and to have an area of life being able to be there, it's very limited. There could be, we don't know, because we don't have the knowledge yet. But they have discovered up to now 5,000 planets around nearest stars. So yeah, I mean, I believe that.
What do you mean by fixed stars?
A fixed star, he means like sun, because sun to us is a fixed star, although it's moving around the galaxy, and the galaxy is actually moving towards a hidden place they call the.
So all the stars are fixed stars?
All the stars are fixed stars.
Okay, next question.
Because if you look at the sky, they are fixed. In the sky, he means the skies that you see in the heaven.
Okay.
Although they're not.
In the slide that you mentioned body, soul, and spirit, and next
body,
to
mind, and spirit. Yeah, body, soul, and spirit.
Next to soul, you in bracket you put mind.
Yeah, mind is an attribute of soul. It's something that, to me, we use like an organ for the next world, for the spirit to use for the next world. Now, you brought a quotation in the Interfaith WhatsApp the site that was saying that man will, from Guardian, man will take whatever he acquires in this world with him to the next world. And that, I think that's its mind.
So
mind is
in
part
what
of,
way soul is different from spirit?
yeah, so see, then you have to go to understand the concept of oneness. Yeah, I describe nature to be consistent of composition and decomposition. It's made of multiple elements, and then we have to go to the concept of God, and it's single. It's not made of components. Now, a spirit is the same. God has created us in His image, so that spirit is not composed of anything. It's single, yeah? It's got singularity. So as a result, it doesn't change. It could say it's part of God, but it's an image of God in us, yeah, that we have. So in the next world, in my concept, we use our mind as a body to dwell in that world. Yeah.
That's very interesting, because I remember reading the writings of Swami Vivekananda. And someone asked him about the death, and he said that death, at the time of death, the man, the soul leaves the body, but he uses the term in Tamil it is Thula Sariram, Sukma Sariram. It's a subtle body.
Yeah.
And then it leaves in the next, after it left the body, it leaves its subtle body, the mind, and then it attains the presence of God. So now when you say that the mind is like the body in the next world, I find it fascinating because it is some sort of similarity.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the previous scriptures, they all say the same thing. They do say that they consider death as a rebirth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But some people have confused it as reincarnation.
So that's probably, that is the concept of reincarnation. Yes.
Well, yeah, but I think Baha'u'llah explains it in his book of Certitude that in reincarnation is the coming of God in the form of man in different stages, rather than in reincarnation that some people believe, that is transformation of the spirit from one physical world, one physical form to another form, which I can't understand it, I can't accept it. We're limiting God. God is limitless. It's got unlimited worlds, and has created unlimited worlds for us to traverse. So to me, we are developing things that we need for the other world, like we developed organs for this world in the womb of the mother.
Okay. If there is no more, Sachin, do you have any question? Otherwise, I will ask.
Yun wants to ask questions.
Okay, Yun.
You're muted. You're muted.
I think, Ahmed, you will be very surprised that God is very close to us. He's not in North Pole, South Pole, universe even. He's everywhere.
Absolutely.
So he's very close to you, so you understand that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so that's a philosophy. The other one is, have you ever seen a comet? Have you ever seen a falling star? Have you ever seen a rising star? Have you ever seen a morning star? Have you ever seen the afternoon star or night star? That's all the stars.
That's a lot of questions.
And the other thing you say,
I told you I'm from 15 years old. I was interested in astronomy. I have seen every one of those things.
Can I see you? You say man forever progress in a higher state of form. Okay, that's what your statement.
Yeah.
That I copy down. And why they forever progress in a higher state of form? People the good virtues that they collected in life, so they can have a better life next time when they pass away.
Next,
right? So what is? I mean, you need to have metaphor to understand all this. You like metaphor.
Absolutely.
You like metaphor, and you like indirect way. So you have to develop metaphor and indirect way to understand all these concepts. Very basic.
Absolutely.
Very basic.
Absolutely, you have to have, because there are spiritual concepts, and we are under those spiritual concepts. So the only way to understand them is through metaphors. Like I explained, oxygen in the air. You don't see oxygen in the air. If you don't have the science behind it, you cannot accept oxygen. You cannot say there's an element in the air that I'm breathing to survive, because you don't see it. Yeah. So the only way to understand that there's oxygen in the air is through a scientific concept, which is an indirect concept. Yeah. To understand that there's oxygen in the air. Yeah. So for spiritual concepts, we are under it. We have to use metaphors to understand them.
Then you will have to accept incarnation and reincarnation.
What does reincarnation have to do with that?
And because otherwise people will waste their time, collect all the good virtues and practice all the good virtues and get progress to the higher status of men. For what? Because when they die,
I explained to you, I brought the metaphor of the baby in the womb. If the baby doesn't create arms and legs, he would be disabled in this physical world. Yeah.
well, but some of them already been because their parent might use chemical or
Yes,
anything in a water.
yeah, the
water
environment.
chemical.
Yes, the environmental effects, absolutely. So,
Okay, I think the metaphor Ahmad was trying to explain is that in the womb, the baby is developing all these organs, but it doesn't use them in that life,
yeah,
in the womb. But it is preparing for its life after the womb, that is the physical world.
Yeah.
In a similar manner, we have to develop some organs that is necessary, or some forces that are necessary for the next life after this physical life. That's the metaphor that he was trying to use.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make sense, it's okay. But this is probably, he is trying to explain, this is what the rebirth that was in the past,
in the scriptures.
People were thinking as that people are going to come back into this physical world.
Yeah, I think that I feel beautiful for people who practice virtual life for 100,000 years, come back to this physical world, and now they all are in a flat area. Their house is sinking.
But how do you know? How do you know those are those people? Because poor people, they are not lost their properties and all that.
Okay, yeah, that's why you had to use metaphor. That's what I try to say, Ahmed. You've been telling us all about science, about galaxy, about Milky Way, about everything else, about metaphor, about indirect way to touch God. And now all the basic principle, you need to change your mind so you can go with the majority of people.
No, I'm saying that even the physical world, you can't understand it. So you have to use metaphors to understand these concepts. Yeah. Now, to me, these poor people that have lost their properties in the last few days, it's nothing to do with their spirituality. It's kind of environment. It's man-made. You know, we built a dam there, and we didn't think about, you know, the things that are happening in the modern time, the pollution that is occurring, and as a result, the transformation of the atmosphere in a different form. So this is all man-made. It's nothing to do with spirituality.
The time is now already 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sachi wanted to say something, and I think you went over. I think I'd like to hear his view.
I like to thank Ahmed for the lecture, and I don't have any comments or questions.
Well,
Thanks,
I hope I gave an explanation why you cannot think of the concept of who created God, because that is like saying, is there a north of the North Pole? Yeah, that metaphor clearly explains that that concept is meaningless. Some other people bring the concept that if God is so great and powerful, why can't he build a stone that he cannot lift? Yeah. That concept, that wording is meaningless, because greatness of God has no relationship in his power to build a stone that he cannot lift, you know? So these concepts are playing with words, you know? So I try to explain that asking the question that who created God is meaningless. We have a creation and a creator, and these two go hand in hand.
Well, it's for people who are logically arguing, it's a valid question, but the mystical things that this is something, not everything is intellectual, right?
Yeah.
There are something that is something to do with our spirit. Now, the feeling of happiness and anger and all these things are not physical. It's not bodily feelings.
Exactly.
It is something else.
Yeah.
That's something else, and the science have not actually found it.
It's the attributes of our
So
soul.
it is an inference that there is a spirit,
Yeah.
or something that is feeling, right?
Yeah.
But so it is up to the individuals to feel. It never can be proven that this exists. So we don't have to dwell too much on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Every person has got his own concept. But we have to remember one thing. Human perception is faulty. It cannot be true to itself, because I have got hundreds of images that I can show you. And those circles, for example, in movement, and then you think in mind, you think that they're crossing, but they're not crossing. Yeah. Or images that look different in an angle, and then when you twist it into a different form, it changes form. Yeah. So our perception is faulty. We cannot base our understanding on our perception. Because, for example, if you put your finger into a hot water bath and then put it into a kind of a little bit colder, you feel much colder, yeah, finger. And if you do the same in reverse, you feel much warmer finger than what it is. Like if there's 1 or 2 degrees difference, you feel a lot more. Like the moon. When you look at the moon, yeah, our perception is built such that we see a beautiful moon. If you take a photograph of the moon, it doesn't look like that. Yeah, and they build cameras that mimic our human perception, and then you can have nice images of moon. Yeah, so
yes.
our perception is faulty, or is not. It's kind of, yeah, it's faulty. It's not. It cannot perceive the things properly.
So you don't believe in Santa Claus?
No, I do believe in Santa Claus, but in a spiritual concept, not in physical concept.
Well, he's in the North Pole.
Huh? Sorry?
He's in the North Pole with God.
Well, I haven't seen the North Pole, but
North
I've
Pole
seen
or
images
South
of North
Pole
Pole.
or South Pole, because he always in the snow. That's where Santa Claus come from the snow, and God was with him.
Well, then I believe those are metaphors, and we have to go and grasp understanding of them behind those metaphors, why they were presented like that. So, and I mean, our time is not there to go through this, but I do believe in Christmas, Father Christmas, and all that in a spiritual manner, spiritual concepts.
Well, if you don't mind to look at your last statement or sentence in your conclusion.
Yeah.
You write a conclusion.
Yeah.
In the last sentence, you say, if we are here to acquire those spiritual attributes, we can make this physical world an image of that heavenly world.
Yeah,
and that is all wrong.
No,
that's not right.
That's a reference from a quotation, a Baha'i quotation. I haven't, as I told you, I didn't put the quotations in there. The concept is that this physical world is in a lower state than that spiritual world, yeah? And God wants us to bring its level higher and higher so that it could be a nice image of that world. We have hardship at the moment here. We have conflicts at the moment. But humanity can be better, can shed this conflict, can make the earth in a nice globe. All it has to do is change its pattern of life, yeah? So to do those patterns, those changes, requires these spiritual concepts. It requires fellowship, it requires unity of mankind. You know, those concepts are needed for transformation of our physical life, yeah? So my point in there was that by acquiring these spiritual concepts, at the same time, we help this physical world and we make this physical world a better place to live.
But the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer that you say,
Yeah.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is.
Exactly.
So it's the Lord's Prayer is saying that eventually we have to make this world the kingdom of God.
Absolutely.
That is, in my opinion, understanding is if every human being, their virtues are developed to that level spiritually, then it will be a kingdom of God on earth. But it is a long way to go, so you don't have to argue about it. But that's the Lord's Prayer. So developing our virtues is the most critical thing that we have to do, and trying to agree together through our understanding be a better way to go about. And I think Pina wants to say something, and then with that we will close because.
Okay, before Pina says something, can I didn't include this concept in my talk because I knew that the time would not let, and that's that Mahalo says that religion is like the four seasons of the earth. It has got spring, summer, autumn, and winter.
Yes.
Now, different religions go through these stages, yeah? And as these religions go through these stages, they unite mankind, and then disunity appears. And whenever disunity appears in the world, there's a quotation that we have read it in here before. Whenever there is disunity in the world, I reappear, yeah? So that's metaphorical transformation of that quotation. But that's the concept. We have disunity and destruction, decomposition in human life, and that's why manifestations come. Okay, Pina, sorry.
Unmute. Sorry, yes, I unmuted. Yes, there was this question about why is it that there are concepts that are hidden to us. So the thing is, that is the wisdom of God. Just like the different levels of creation, we have the minerals as the lowest, and then we have this animal, the world of the animals, and then we have the world of human beings, and then we have the Holy Spirit, and we have the world of God. And so we cannot go beyond that limit that is given to us. That is mystery to us.
Yeah,
we cannot, and that is the wisdom of God.
Yeah.
So that's why even in the Holy Writing it says that man is my mystery, and I am his mystery.
Exactly.
Yes. So if we know that mystery, then there's no more mystery.
Yeah.
So there is wisdom in all that.
Yeah.
That's why we don't really, we have to accept. We just have to accept it. That thing, and the other thing is that we strive, we pray, and then we are given that blessing of understanding. Even, thank God we have the example. We have Abdul Baha, the mystery of God himself, as our example.
In Baha'i faith.
And in the Baha'i faith, of course, in the Baha'i faith. And so, you see, whatever we do, the standard that we try to attain is in the Holy Writings. Aren't we so lucky to have that? You say, am I acting in accordance to the teachings of the Holy Writings? So we can always refer, because this revelation is the standard. This is the balance. This is the unerring balance. And we are so lucky. We have some exemplar like Abdul Baha. We have the revelations of God to turn to and refer to. And we strive, we keep striving. That is, again, the reason why this life is the shadow and the next life is reality. Because this is the transition, this is the journey of life that we are going through for the reality of life, for the next world. Thank you.
you. And that's a very nice message. And we will close this. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Ahmad, for this wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. Well presented.
Thank you. We're still talking about next life, Ahmed.
I have tingled
Yeah.
a bit of
We keep talking about next life.
looking for these concepts in your mind.
Next week. See you next week.
Jung is
Thank
going to
you.
ask about
Thank you.
quantum physics.
Yeah.
Jung wanted to ask about